Hey, JT here for delicatebeats.com and author of the book, The Bedroom Super Producer. In the previous video, we talked about the importance for you to let go of your perfectionistic ways and also to train your decision muscle. Listen, if you want to have a career in music, you'll have to become more and more comfortable with the idea of sharing your work with the world. A big part of making this happen depends on just how strong your artistic ego is. Norman Mailer once said that writer's block is only a failure of the ego. So what is the artistic ego? Well, let me give you my personal definition. For music producers, it is a part of our being that protects us from not living up to the hype. A hype created by two things: our sense of talent, self-esteem, and self-importance within the music community, and our understanding of how we measure up to the same music community. In a nutshell, just how confident we are in our abilities compared to how we perceive ourselves with our peers. Let's face it, no human can survive without the ego. What we can do is surrender to it once inspiration strikes. I know, it's easier said than done. But let me give you just a few tips to get the artistic ego just on the side, not out of the way completely, but in a way that allows you to become your most creative self. Number one, find your little trick. Here's a list of things people can do to bring the best out of them. Exercise. Wake up early. I know there's a lot of, night owls in the music community, but I have come to find out, based on scientific research, that our most creative self rises early in the morning. It's much easier in the morning with a clear brain to be as creative as you can possibly become. Take cold showers. Cold showers is a pain in the ass, I'm sorry to say, but what I find is that when you finish off a hot shower with a cold streak at the very end, it really brings your senses into this alert state, and this alert state can then transfer into that flow state. Drink a lot of water. I mean, I'm horrible at this. I'll go on a 5 to 6 hour streak where I'm super focused and I forget to drink water, and then my lips will become dry and my head will become, numb, and I'll become almost dizzy, and then I know it's time for me to get or chug down a big pint of water. So my advice to you is always keep a big glass or a big jar next to your studio, just in case you run out of energy. As Stephen Pressfield say, pray the gods or the nymphs of creativity. And I'm not a religious person. I guess I'm a spiritual person, but what I find is that once you surrender again and you ask for help comes your way. So you have to be able to receive that. And I think that prayer or, hoping for the best to happen once you hit the studio is a great way to just channel all of these creative energies. Meditate. Meditation is another way to clear your mind. It's just a way to calm down your thoughts and let, again, those creative juices flowing and these ideas coming your way in a non-judgmental way. And finally, create a ritual. I talked about in previous videos about how I will sometimes jam on the piano just to get the ideas going and just to have a feel for music in a very general sense. The idea is to not just jump right into the DAW and try to figure out the best idea for the day. Instead, see it as a way to just build momentum. So it could be just programming some random drum track, or like I said, play a couple chords, or maybe just throw a couple samples in your arrange window and see what your brain picks out, what kind of patterns it comes up with, and then creativity really happens. Like a coach that I really like on YouTube, shout out to Corey Wayne, by the way, repetition is the mother of skill. So like I said, find that little something that sets the tone and that puts you in that fluid mind state where you're non-judgmental, open-minded, and ready to receive that divine inspiration. All right, tip number 2, practice. Yeah, I know we're talking about practice. Shout out to the answer, obviously. So in my previous point, I talked about getting into that flow mind state. A state where you don't ask questions, you just do. This is the headspace where creativity is at its highest, where everything actually seems possible. Sometimes your skills or your knowledge will get in the way, but if you're in the flow state, sometimes you also forget your limitations and you just do it. So how do you get there? Practice. The more you put in the work, the easier it becomes. The easier your work becomes, the less you worry. And the less you worry, the less power your ego has over you. To make practice effective, you need to compartmentalize it. I'll reference my old days of practicing basketball to give you an idea of what I mean. So during a basketball practice, you don't just play pickup games of 5-on-5 full court. You will do drills. You will isolate certain movements such as defense or post-up moves or jumpers or free throws, three-pointers. Then you do set plays, then you do cardio. You have to build every aspect of your game. And the best way is not necessarily to put yourself in a game situation where you have to practice everything all at once. So set time aside to practice the following aspects of your production game: drum programming, your keyboard or guitar playing, music theory, chord progressions and melodies, mixing, mastering, studying the greats, watching other big producers in the studio, try to learn what their tricks are, what their rituals are. Obviously, studying your competition. The best way is obviously to follow them on social media, watch their Instagram, IGTVs, or YouTube videos, and try to learn from them. Because even though they're competition, you can learn a lot and you can benefit from their work. And then what I would call pickup, where you make beats but with no goal in mind, just to find some new creative gems, make happy mistakes that might take you to that next level. All right, number 3, don't think so proud. So last but not least, I think as artists, we all have to tone down our pride. In a previous video, I told you about when I got started in the stock music game, I was trying to make these ultra elaborate songs just to show myself and others that I could compete with the best. And in doing so, I was making music that wasn't all of that appealing. It was great from a technical or music theory standpoint, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that fun, joyful, up-tempo music that customers crave. I was really just trying to pamper my artistic ego. So as I say in my book, The Bedroom Super Producer, all producers have to meet in the middle. Beginners need to step their game up, obviously learning more music theory or maybe an instrument, whereas experts need to understand that their customers don't need all of that super complex music. What they need is a feeling, an emotion to carry on with their message. Simplicity is beautiful. Simplicity also makes your art accessible. And finally, simple is not the same as simplistic. Pay attention to your ego. What does it tell you? What is it trying to get you to do that you don't necessarily want to do? Does it tell you that you're not good enough? Or does it say that you're too good for that? The first step is to hear that ego voice inside of you. And then the next step is to surrender. Listen, I hope this video helps you be aware of your destructive habits, and in doing so, become the best music producer you can possibly become. If you like the video, share it on social media, subscribe to my channel if you want more of these kinds of talks, And also follow me on Instagram at Delicate Beats. I'm also working on a crazy cool offer for all of my music producers out there who want to take their game to the next level and build a beat selling business the way I did it. And so because I wanted to take my book and my message to the next level, I put together the Bedroom Super Producer Masterclass. This is my way of teaching you exactly what's in the book, but taking things further and showing you exactly how I work my magic on the computer in my DAW, how I put together my songs, and how I earn a full-time income working as a music producer, selling his beats online. So if you're interested in that, go in the description. There's going to be a link where you can enter your name and email so you can join my early bird gang. This is going to be a group of producers that really want to get into the program. Make sure you reserve your spot, because obviously I can't work with millions of producers, and I'm only going to take a small number of very motivated producers. So you want to make sure, if you're interested, that you reserve your spot by joining the early bird waiting list. So click in the link below, and I'll see you in the next video.